Now, the reason that Gaza is so important is for a few reasons. First is that the Israelis actually ended up sucking up the water resources in the area, which is one of the reasons that they ended up pulling out of the Gaza Strip. The settlers could no longer continue to control the water resources in the area. And today, only 10% of the water that Palestinians drink in the Gaza Strip actually is drinkable. I forgot my English. I know how to say it in Arabic, but so excuse me. So less than 10% of the water of the Gaza Strip is actually, you can actually use as drinking water. The vast majority of water has to be actually pumped in, shipped in from international donors, or in some cases they actually drink water that is very, very unhealthy for them. So this is why the issue of the flotilla became so important, because in 2006, after the election of Hamas, who was elected not just in the Gaza Strip, but also elected in the West Bank as well, the Israelis decided to impose an embargo on the Gaza Strip. And it's interesting, is today Israel talks about easing the blockade, particularly after all of this international condemnation of the blockade. I can tell you what an easing of the blockade is like. I lived in Gaza for 2005, from all of 2005 and halfway into 2006. During the period that I lived there, which was an easing of the blockade, I don't remember having fresh milk for a year and a half. I don't remember having yogurt for a year and a half. I don't remember eating cheese for a year and a half. For about 2 months, we had a very severe flour shortages, which meant that we didn't have bread. Now, I can withstand that because I don't have a family. I don't have a child that I need to worry about. I don't have to worry about having children who are going to be malnourished. But when you see that 20% of the residents of the Gaza Strip are under the age of 4, and 50% of the residents of the Gaza Strip are under the age of 18, then you begin to realize that these shortages of bread, of milk, of meat products is actually very detrimental to the lives of Palestinian children. Now, since the blockade has been imposed, the list of the things that are allowed into the Gaza Strip is actually quite staggering, of what is not allowed into the Gaza Strip. It's quite staggering. All under the guise of security. Everything from cookies, to potato chips, to cumin, to coriander, to A4 paper, to crayons, to building supplies. All of this is suddenly deemed to be a threat to Israel's security. I've never heard of a bomb being made out of coriander, but what do I know? But these are all little things that Palestinians have been forbidden from having because of the guise of Israel's security. And so today, when Israel talks about the issue of easing the blockade, this is what it's talking about. It's not talking about lifting the blockade permanently. It's not talking about allowing Palestinian goods to come in. It's not talking about allowing Palestinians to leave the Gaza Strip, to travel elsewhere, to have an economy, to be free. It's simply talking about scaling it back to a place that it was in 2005, during which time we didn't have milk, we didn't have yogurt, we didn't have cheese, and we went through a period where we didn't have bread either. This is what Israel's talking about when it talks about easing the restrictions. And you can see just here from since 2005, from the period I lived there until 2010, what exactly Israel has allowed to come in and what it hasn't allowed to come in. Interestingly, you can see the imports, right? They stagger off to pretty much nothing. And exports since June of 2007 have been absolutely zero. So when Israel talks about easing this blockade, again, it's talking about allowing certain goods to come in, but it's never going to allow Palestinian goods to get out. This is why there is 80% of the population of the Gaza Strip is now dependent on food handouts. This is why 75% of the structures that were destroyed in Israel's attack on Gaza in 2009 have not been allowed to be rebuilt, because of the fact that it continues to control so much of the lives of Palestinians. Now, I'm going to, from here, I don't want to go through the rest of the slides because they're pretty much the same as this. But I want to talk about what needs to be done in